Have you ever gotten this error in your terminal? Command not found? Why does this happen? How does your system even know that a command is valid or not? I'm going to be answering that question today. I'm going to be going over how the path environment variable works. This is stuff that you're going to use every single day, so you definitely want to stay tuned. Welcome back to Tommy Codes. My name is Tommy, and on this channel, I talk about software engineering, I talk about technology, and I want to make you guys the best software engineers you can possibly be. Let's go back to my screen now. And I have this file called teams.txt, and in this file, there's a line for each team in the MLB. So we can see the Washington Nationals, the New York Mets, all of them are here. And I want to count how many of these teams actually have an M in their name, lowercase or uppercase. And to do that, we can use grep, one of my favorite commands, which is going to search through. And we're going to use -ic. -I is going to make the search case insensitive. So M and lowercase m are treated the same. And C is going to have a count for us. And if I do M, and then tell it teams.txt, we're going to see that 8 teams have an M, either uppercase or lowercase in there, and that works great. But how come grep is considered a valid command and search.sh is considered an invalid command? Because if you actually look at my file browser here, I do have a script called search.sh. And funny enough, you can actually run search.sh by doing a // in the front. If I do a // in the front and then look up M, you'll actually see an output here. So what's going on here? And if I run a command like this, fake command that definitely doesn't exist, how did my system know that that command didn't exist? Imagine if you were looking for an iPhone app on your phone. Imagine if you were looking for the United Airlines app. What would you do to find it? Or if it was somebody else's phone, what would you do to find it? You'd probably just scroll through each of the pages of their apps. Maybe you look in folders, maybe you'd use the search functionality and you'd either find it or you wouldn't. But you would have a list of things you would actually search through, and that's basically all you need to do. Your shell is doing literally the exact same thing. Your shell has a list of places where it can look for executables, and that is called the path. The path is an environment variable, which means it's part of your shell session. You can check the contents of your path by running this command. Echo $path. And the output is actually just a string, but if we look at this string, we're going to see a bunch of directories that are separated by a colon. So we can see here, this is a directory, this is a directory, this is 2 directories actually, and all of these are directories. So we have a handful of different directories here. And what's going to happen is whenever you run a command, your system is going to go directory by directory in this order. So it's first going to look in this directory, and it's going to look for an executable called grep. So in the case of grep, it's going to look for an executable called grep. So why don't we actually ls that directory? Why don't we actually see the contents of this directory? And I don't see anything called grep in here. And we don't see anything here, so let's go on to the next one. So we're going to go to this one here. Let's ls that. And I see a few executables, but I don't see anything called grep. So we're going to continue here. And I also don't see grep here. So where is grep? There's a lot of directories. I don't want to actually have to search through each of these here. Well, luckily, there's a really handy command called which. We can run which grep. It's going to tell us exactly where the grep executable actually is. And as we can see here, it's in /user/bin/grep. And if we actually ls/user/bin and we scroll up here, there's grep. So grep is right there. And actually, if we were on the command line and I did /user/bin/grep and I did -icm teams.txt, that is literally the exact same executable. So why didn't search.sh actually work, even though it was in the current directory? Why did I need to append the /? What's happening is because there's no slash in front of search.sh here, the shell is actually going to start looping through the directories because Unix PATH demo here is not in the path. And let me print out the path again for you guys. Because Unix PATH demo is not actually part of the path, even though search.sh is in the current directory, even though it seems like the shell should just find it because it's right there, it's unable to because it's going to go and loop through here. It's not going to find it. It's not going to find it here. Not going to find it here. Blah, 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 blah. It's never going to find it. However, when you do the // in front, you are overriding this logic and you are telling the shell, hey, ignore the path environment variable, completely ignore that. Instead, literally look in the current directory and there will be an executable called search.sh, and that's the one that you should use. So if you have an executable that's not on your path and you want to invoke it without modifying the path, you can just provide these slashes in front. And this works from other directories too. So if I go up a level, I can also do Unix PATH demo and search.sh, and then I can do M, and that will also work. But this is kind of annoying. What if I wanted search.sh to actually just be available? What would I do then? Well, you have 2 options. One, you could copy this executable into a location that is on the path. So one of the things we could do is actually copy this into maybe user bin or user local bin. Let's do that. So let's echo the path again. And we're going to do a directory that's local to my user. So in that case, that's my local bin here. And what we're going to do, we're going to copy search.sh into there. And now if I do search.sh, this should actually work. And we're going to do M. And indeed it did work. And you can actually run which to see exactly what executable it's doing. So which search.sh, and you will notice that it is indeed running the one we just copied there. What happens if I copy it into a different directory on the path? What if I copy it into this guy here? So now let's go up here. Let's copy it into NVM versions, whatever, this directory here. So we just copied it. We're going to run search.sh again. That works. But now the which output is going to be different. And now you're seeing that it's going into this NVM directory. That's because the order of the directories in the path environment variable is the order in which your shell is going to search for the executable. And because search.sh is now in the first directory, and let me show you guys the path again, because this first directory actually has search.sh, well, your shell doesn't need to keep searching. It's just going to stop right there. So that's one thing you could do. Now, why don't we make a new script? We're going to call it search2.sh. And just to prove to you guys, if I do search2.sh, I do search2.sh m, that's command not found. If I do /search2.sh m, that's going to work. If I do which search2.sh, that is not going to work. What if I wanted to get this on a path? Well, of course, we could just copy it in there. But the other thing to do is actually modify your path environment variable. So we could add a new directory to this list. So let's do that. So let's grab the current directory. Let's do path equals, and then let's grab this guy. And then we're going to add a colon, and then we're going to grab whatever was there before. And then now we are going to do search2.shm, and now it works. Because in the context of this command, because you're modifying the path environment variable, your system now is going to first look in Unix path demo, and it is going to find a script called search2.sh. However, if we try that again without the modification, we are again going to get command not found. And so if you wanted this to be persisted for the session, what you would need to do is this. You would need to actually export that change. And by doing that export, now when we echo the path, you will notice that the first directory is this Unix path demo. And now search2 actually works. And just to prove to you guys it will work in any directory, we can go ahead and do that. It does not matter. And again, just because something is on the path doesn't mean you can't use the actual executables. You can always do search2.sh, look for M, and that will work there. Usually what you do if you wanted a new directory on the path to be persistent is you would modify your either bash RC file or ZSH RC file. So in my case, I'm using ZSH. So I have a file called ZSH RC. And in this file, I have a bunch of commands. These are commands that are run when the terminal is started up. And so what I mean by that is if I exit out of this session with Control D and I go back into the terminal, and now I try to do search2.sh, now it can't find the command because if we look at the path, you'll notice that the first directory is no longer this Unix path demo directory. That's pretty much all you need to know about how the path works. This is a really important concept in Unix. It comes up in a lot of different places, and you'd be surprised how many bugs you're going to run into that ultimately just come down to some executable not being on the path or invoking an executable in the wrong directory, different versions of executable. Because sometimes what will happen is, for instance, with Python, in one directory, you'll have an executable called Python, and then in some other directory, you'll have another executable called Python, and they're on different versions. And if you just run the Python command, you're not necessarily going to get what you expect. And that's why this concept is so important to understand. I plugged it on this channel before in a video where I went over books that junior developers should read, but there's this book called Unix Programming Environment by Brian Kernighan and Rob Pike. And it goes over everything you need to know about Unix. It goes over all of this path stuff. It goes over how files work. It goes over a lot of the basic commands and just the overall Unix philosophy. I always recommend this to people because Unix fundamentals are just so important for software engineering. But even just knowing this about the path will take you pretty far. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a comment down below if you learned something today. I'd really appreciate it. We'll see you next time on Tonic Codes.